Matters, brought to you by Empire West Title. Our next guest is Sophia Kim. She's a realtor with Unique Real Estate. Sophia, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
And tell our listeners a little bit about yourself.
I've moved here in the Valley probably about 18 years ago for graduate school, but ended up going in this corporate world. Started out as insurance. From there, I met a gentleman and went into mortgage and real estate, and been doing that for about 15 years.
And you started as a loan officer, or actually started maybe as a processor on the loan side, right?
Actually, I started as a loan officer for a very small brokerage.
Yeah.
I met him through a bank. I was a branch manager there, and he's like, "This is what we do." And I'm looking, and I'm like, "Wow, that's pretty easy." And the branch at the time didn't have mortgage products, so I got into it easily, doing that, and then went on and got my brokerage license.
Yeah, and so I just think that and now you do real estate.
Now I do real estate.
So
yes.
I've got kind of a similar background where I was a loan officer for 20 years doing loans, and now I work for title. But I always think that you now as a realtor, and I know as a title rep, having been on the other side of the fence, so to speak, and living in their shoes, it really helps my business today. And I would imagine that you being a loan officer helps your real estate business as much.
Definitely it does, because I can tell them and a lot of my clients are all referral based from the mortgage era as well. So they've been with me for a long time, so they know how it
so
works.
You still get you have
exactly,
your people you
I do.
For, now you're selling their homes.
I do. So they come, and then I know exactly what for them to bring to the loan officer. It makes the loan officer a lot easier, because I have everything, and I said, "Here's my client, here's all the stuff that you need, please get approval for me within 24 hours."
Well, once you work with Sophia, you work with her for life. It's for life, whether it's your but that's great. I mean, and I know you had mentioned you speak Cambodian.
Yes, I do.
And I think that the fact, just from a cultural standpoint, you guys, what's the word I want to stick together. Everyone likes to work with, especially if you speak Cambodian, it's got to make it so much easier to work in the real estate.
Well, if I worked with somebody who only spoke Cambodian, I would have a little trouble.
You would have a little trouble.
I don't speak Cambodian.
Well, I would imagine that there's some, maybe people try translators, but to have your agent, your real estate agent speak Cambodian.
Yes,
it's great.
And Sophia, we talked off air, which I thought was awesome. Now, we've had an agent on who was from China, and he talked about the Chinese market and how, working with somebody from that country and working with somebody from any other country has its challenges. And we also talked off air before your segment about how, I was born and raised here. And at one point, Phoenix was pretty much it was pretty bland as far as ethnic diversity was concerned. And over the last 15, 20 years, and maybe even more recently, we're starting to see a lot more diversity as far as our, the ethnic population from, not just, white, black, Asian, or whatever, but we're talking about people coming from other countries. Okay, it's not just that maybe they are that ethnic race, but they're actually first generation or from like in your case we talked about you working with a lot of Cambodians. So let me ask you this. I mean, we've talked to an agent who works with people from China, and it's like they're having to teach them about the market, and there's certain things that Chinese people they have, they like to do things a certain way. How about the Cambodian market? Is it the same thing? Do you run across those challenges as far as they were born and raised in Cambodia? I mean, do you even own real estate over in Cambodia? Those kind of things. And when you come over here, having to explain all this to everybody is how the real estate market and the mortgage industry works in the United States.
Contracting, that's a challenge for me, because a lot of things that are done in Cambodia are obviously they do have written, contract, but a lot of things are done handshake and verbally still today. So even though the contract is there, the commission is set, the price, they'll come back and say, "No, I like this. I can only pay this much," or "No, I want the price to actually just be $480,000. I'm like, you already agreed. We already put that in writing. So it's a little challenging, but yeah, it's a little frustrating. And then as far as, each step in the process where, well, I really don't need an inspection. My husband can just go on the roof and take care of like, well, yes, you can. But when it comes to negotiating, you want that. You want to be able to say, hey, look, the roof is not well. We need to, either repair, do this. So it's a challenge when it comes up. But you know what? I love it. I love the fact that I'm able to represent them, and I love the fact that Phoenix is growing the way it is, and I love the cultural differences. It just makes us that much richer.
Yeah, and do you still get the feeling of the awesome feeling? When I was a loan officer, whenever I closed a really tough deal, it was very rewarding. Do you still get that?
Each deal is always rewarding.
Well, I'm talking more just not from a commission standpoint.
No, I meant working with individuals is enriching.
I didn't mean to put you on the spot like that either.
I wasn't even thinking about that. Each deal is uniquely different.
Yeah.
Even if it's with, a Cambodian, a Chinese, Iraqi, Iranian,
it makes it fun
because, and you know what? Interestingly enough, I have a lot of clientele who are from the Middle East as well.
Okay.
It's interesting because they're really comfortable with me. But each contract brings its own uniqueness to it. And that's what I love about it.
When you talk about it, it's satisfying. And of course, if you're just doing a regular deal with somebody who's been in the United States and they bought and sold properties, it's very satisfying. But to work with somebody from another country and to hold their hand throughout the whole thing and teach them how it works, and for them to you look at them and you see that comfort level. It's like, you know what, you've done your job, and you've not just done your job, but you've taken it to another level.
I love it. So, an example, I just closed a deal with a family from the Middle East. He considers me his sister now. So he calls me up not only about real estate, he will ask me, well, what do you think I should do with this? And what do you think I should do? Sophia, you're my sister. That's why I'm asking. Not that it's your job about the AC or about this. I love that. I love that feeling because it's like I've done my job above and beyond, and now his sister's buying, so she's calling me, and I love that.
Yeah, that's a great
Friends
referral.
and family can referral. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, great.
So let me ask you this: there's great Mexican food restaurants out there. There's great all kinds of different ethnic. One, what is Cambodian food? How is it? Is it similar to maybe Vietnamese because they're so close, or Thai or whatever? And where is there some good Cambodian restaurants?
So I love to eat.
What's your favorite?
As Alex here knows, I eat probably 4 or 5 times a day.
And if you saw Sophia, you'd know she loved to eat. No, I'm joking. She's tiny. How you love to eat?
I love to eat, and I love ethnic food. So I try to go in the valley, different ethnic restaurants, Ethiopian, Puerto Rican, or Cambodian, Vietnamese food. I love to eat, but Cambodian food is very, very similar to Thai food, except not as spicy.
Okay.
So
that's a good thing. Yeah.
It's not as spicy.
Thai food's good, but sometimes it's so spicy, it's like hard to eat.
So what we do is we have a side of spices that you can add. So the food comes not as spicy, but you can always add. And I think, in my opinion, it's probably one of the best food on earth because there's variety of things that it's not like just cheese and meat wrapped up, or it's just different. Every entree cuisine is completely different, and the flavoring. Oh my gosh, it's amazing.
So what is a good Cambodian food restaurant? Let's give a plug to one.
There is one restaurant. It's called Saigon by Night. It's on Indian School and 12th Street. A very good friend of mine. It's delicious, and they are coming out with a truck, I believe, that'll be going throughout the valley.
Food truck then.
Food truck, yes.
Excellent. Right, there you go. So if you're in the mood for some Cambodian food, they go to Saigon by Night over at 12th Street Indian School.
Hey, one thing that really makes you also unique, and Sophia, I can tell you, people listen, Sophia has a very good energy about you. You do. You have a very nice karma with you. And one of the things that you do, and none of our other agents that we've had on the show actually go out and they give a time and they're going to make themselves available. And I believe you do, Tuesdays and Thursdays at the lounge with Sun Street Mortgage. Is that right?
Correct. So Tuesdays and Thursdays of every week from approximately 12 to 2, I will be there available to just chit-chat, talk about real estate, talk about anything you want, or just, if you're free, just come and have lunch with me.
Yeah, that's really cool.
I'm more about people's I love to meet
that's
people
great.
of all ethnic and all culture. So it doesn't have to be real estate. You can just come and hang out with me.
I like we were talking. I said, being born and raised here and watching the cultural diversity grow, it's making us a better city.
I love it. I love every bit of it.
I honestly, I'm looking around going, you know what? We're a big, you got LA, we're fifth largest city in the United States, but we didn't have that cultural diversity. Well, I think we're getting there.
Yeah.
And we become a better city for it. So talking about cities, you have an expertise in your notes that you gave us, expertise in Glendale, as far as real estate is concerned. Glendale, Tempe, South Phoenix, and Scottsdale. That's kind of all over the place to have an expertise in there. So let's start with, and one of the reasons I wanted to ask you this is because you're dealing with different types of people, different price ranges, obviously different types of homes. And when you say South Phoenix, are you talking new South Phoenix or old South Phoenix?
Talking about old South Phoenix.
Old South Phoenix. Okay, because that's new South Phoenix, which is baseline south. Anything baseline north.
Yes.
Okay, so let's start. I mean, let's get some comparisons. Yeah, I mean, let's get some comparisons. Obviously, Glendale, Tempe, Scottsdale, okay, probably, bedroom community, suburb. That's, there's price differentials and things like that. But South Phoenix, old South Phoenix, that's a different animal than those other three.
Exactly, that's a different animal. The expertise comes from the group of people that I work with. So certain ethnic group will like to be in a certain area versus the other area. So that's where, because my business is all referrals, I'm loving it, and I take them to where they are comfortable with the certain ethnic group. And as far as old Phoenix, I love the area. It is phenomenal, and it's grown like
well, we talked
can't
about
find anything.
Absolutely. And we've talked about a lot of the historic districts, and a lot of those historic districts, the Willow District and the other ones are Coronado, and most of those are like downtown north.
Correct.
But are there historic districts that are downtown, like towards the south, and some of South Phoenix? So some of those areas, have they been designated historic districts?
I don't think there are certain areas, small locations, small little ones that are. But if you're able to get anything in the historic district, can't go wrong with that.
No, absolutely. And the reason I was asking is because that South Phoenix area is just as historical.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And some of those homes, matter of fact, the oldest home still standing in the city of Phoenix is south of downtown Phoenix. And it's still there, and you can't live in it. It's surrounded by a chain link fence, and it's an adobe structure, but it's still standing.
I did an open house for like a 12,000 square foot home in old Phoenix, south.
Sure.
I believe it was $400,000. I mean, it was a humongous, gorgeous house. It was $400,000. It wasn't considered to be in one of the nicer areas, but it was a nice house.
Well, and the old South Phoenix, south of downtown has seen better days.
Yeah.
But like a lot of those areas, they have a resurgence. And are you starting to see that in that area?
Of course. I think these prices in old South Phoenix are going to become very, very competitive, and it's going to be very expensive just because the lot, the situation where it's at, and because of the location to the airport. Of course, there's a lot of things that are coming up with the renovation of the airport and extending it out. So a lot of those places are going to be pretty much almost untouched. There's a property actually that I looked at, 85014. Just 3 years ago, it was purchased for $165. Now it's worth $425.
Wow. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Wow.
And not a lot of it is done to it.
That speaks volumes.
Not a lot of it is done to it either.
And that speaks volumes from what you just said. Knowing and growing up here and watching that area kind of, be gray, and then all of a sudden kind of take a dip. And that tells me that it's starting to come back up.
And the thing is, if that property that we're looking at to put on the market, it's going to sell within 5 days. Because there's not a lot of homes in that area for sale.
Absolutely. Sophia, how does somebody get a hold of you?
You can reach me on my cell phone, 480-570-5800. Again, you can also email me at myluxuryspace@yahoo.com.
That's Sophia Kim. She's a realtor with Unique Real Estate. Sophia, thank you so much for being on the show. Our other guest today was Alex Joyner with Sun Street Mortgage. Again, Alex, thank you so much for being on the show.
Well,
Josh, another great show.
Thanks, Phil.
We will talk to you guys next week.